Hi, this is Francisco with Sea Shield. We're over here in sunny San Diego doing a full restoration and ceramic coating application of Northern Marine 86 foot built in 2006. So this paint it's 10 years old. You know, over the years they've been waxing and buffing it and who knows what else. But as you can see, it's full of scratches, oxidation. It's just really in the shape that needs to be restored. So we're going to go ahead and prep the surface. We're going to use our cotton polish number 2 and one of our newest products that we're very excited about called Sea Shield Medium Cut. And it is an amazing product. It really kind of picks it up from our compound into a polish and finish, but it has like a medium compound cut to it. So it really works well. On the newer paint, we can use it as a one-step. Surfaces that are in better shape. This is, I can say, is 10 years old, so it needs a little more cut. So we're going to start at our number 2. We're not going to go to number 1, but we'll do number 2, maybe 2 steps from number 2. We'll just see how the surface reacts. As you can see, it's pretty oxidized and needs a lot of attention. Cotton polish number 2 comes in 2 different sizes, 16 ounce, and what makes this product different is our buffing loop on it. So in marine surface, when you're buffing the sun or you're buffing really dry surfaces, different car products, even some marine products, tend to haze and to kind of stick to the surface. By us developing this buffing loop and adding it to the compounds, and allows us more working time, keep a lubrication between the pad and the surface, and prevent burning the surface. You know, a lot of times these pads run dry and they flash burn this paint, so it will be like a jello spot and so on. So it's very important to have buffing loop, and we actually sell it separate, so you can mix it with your own compound. But you know, of course, we have the right ratio and works really well with our number 2. And we use gallons, squeeze it onto a ketchup bottle. These guys have a big mouth, so you can stick the gallon right in it. So it's actually a lot better in the sense that you're not making a big spill when you're filling it up. So we'll put some small lines in the surface. And then we'll go ahead and start with our cotton polish. So these are white wool pads, been used, they've been prepped, been cleaned, and Makita buffer, variable speed. We like 3.5 settings, 1500 to 1800 RPMs. So you start it slow, you know, there's no numbers to it, move it so much up and down. You start it slow, kind of pick up the product, spread it, and then you start buffing. Go to about 3.5. One buffing is very important. Some people tend to move the buffer too fast. You know, they'll start buffing, and then you really don't get the polish or the compound to do the work. So you want to be steady and even. You put medium pressure to it. You can go flat. You can go a very slight angle. I mean, there's times there'll be a stain that you can work the stain out, but then come back and straighten it up. So the buffing loop keeps it lubricated. There's this kind of like a smearing of product in the surface, and you can see the shine is coming right back. Maybe some of the edges need a little more. That actually did it. I'm going to go ahead and apply a little more product to kind of trim the edges a little better and make sure that surface is prepped correctly. There's a little more buffing that needs to be done over here in the sides and so on. So good lighting is important. I mean, we could have done it in the right sun, but you know, having a spectral light, you know, like this scan grip, it's really good. It's actually built for color matching, but man, it gives you a good color when you're looking at paint. There we go. When you're buffing, let the pad and the machine do a lot of the work. You know, when you get used to the buffer, and the buffer will carry himself to a point, so you don't have to be kind of very tense and get very worked out of it. You know, just get a good grip, get stable, And you can literally put pressure in it, and you can hear the sound. No pressure, little pressure, and just kind of let the machine do the work. Just move it slow and even. That is definitely, we cut a lot of those scratches. And one thing important, you know, some people use those stick-on pads, which are good, they're cheaper, and some people get used to them, it's fine. But we like double-sided pads. Main reason is, you see how flat this pad is? When you're buffing, it helps diminish the swirl marks. Some of the other pads, especially when you use a backing plate, they kind of tend to like curve and create a bigger hologram. And the other thing is, buff side to side. Don't buff up and down like this and all over the place, because when you're walking about, if you leave any swirl mark behind or there's any kind of hologram, you can see it. When you're side to side, you walk with it, and it's much, you know, there's much less. In our case, we're not going to leave any swirls behind. We're going to go ahead and take it all the way to our DA action, remove the hologram, prep it for the ceramic coating, and it's going to look really, really good. So I'm going to go ahead and spin this pad around. So we just cut it with a number 2. I mean, you can already see the finish is really good. Shine is there. A lot of those spider web scratches we were able to remove. So, I mean, the difference is going to be huge. I mean, right, that itself, we were able to remove that cross, you know. Contrary to what people think that all grip is not buffable. Yes, it's not buffable when she's new. She's a 3-stage paint. She has 3 components. One of them is a clear coat, a polyester clear coat that kind of floats to the top, and that kind of creates a barrier. So when she's new, leave it alone. Don't even use anything for the first 6 months. But you know, things have changed, and the sun's very strong. So that polyester actually starts breaking down year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So imagine 10 years, I think it's gone. I mean, most people would think this boat is absolutely needs a paint job, but we have found ways to bring back the paint and restore the shine. And the key is to do it in a way that it doesn't look like it's been buffed. So you don't leave any holograms behind. No swirls, and technology have changed so much that we are now able to apply a true ceramic clear coat that is a barrier. So that's what we're going to be doing in this spot, and we're going to do for entire boat. And apply the medium. There we go. Start at a low speed. Spread the product. All right. So that whole surface has been prepped with our new medium finish / super finish, whatever you want to call it. The finish is great. It's almost like no swirl. I mean, the swirls is very, well, you can get it really perfect in a small section. I mean, you can do a big boat if you're very careful, but if you're doing big areas, you kind of tend to get carried out of some awkward positions, and you know, with a buffer, you tend to leave a little bit of a hologram. So we like to finish everything with our DA action and our final polish, which is a very fine product. So you make sure that there's absolutely no swirls behind. You know, there's a big difference between waxing a boat, just running a buffer, putting some compound or whatever, and slapping some paste wax or other products, and it shows. When you first do it, it might shine and in the right angle look good, but man, if the sun comes out, I mean, it looks like a shore special, horrible looking. I mean, it's obvious it's been buff. I mean, that raises questions. Who did it? I mean, did they damage the paint? Did they burn the paint? You know, is the paint in bad shape? Did they needed to do that? So there's many factors that when you do a proper polishing job, you can actually create more damage, and especially if they just remove like a patch of oxidation is here and this shine here. It looks like a Dalmatian. You know, they just don't get it all even. So just very careful when whoever you use to restore a surface with. So final polish is it's a really good finishing product. Works in great on paint, and different surfaces, white and so on. It comes in gallons, 16 ounces. We like to use the gallon size because it's more cost effective, and we're able to put the right lines with those squeeze bottles. So you can get it either way. So you start at 0, and then just increase it to about 4. Just work her smooth. I'm not putting any pressure on it, or not heavy. It's not like you're pushing on it. You just work it on the top. With this pads, the product stays on the surface. It doesn't kind of get sucked in all the way and gets all smoochy. That's part of the technology with these finishing pads. So that's probably good enough. And well, you go ahead and wipe the excess and get a prep for our ceramic coating. We have 2 ceramic coatings that we're going to be using. We have the professional version and our crew version. So there's 2 ceramics. This one is a heavier ceramic coating. It's thicker, dries pretty quick, but puts a very good barrier in the micropores. And the crew version by no means is weak. It's very strong too. It's much easier to apply, is a more harder shell. So you can put a thicker coat with the professional, thinner coat with the crew. When you work them together and apply a heavier coat and then a thinner coat, it was when you get the best of all worlds. The professional is literally 8 times stronger than wax, and the crew is about 5 times stronger than wax, and have all these properties of chemical resistance. It makes the surface a little more scratch resistant. And it just creates an amazing shine. And the nice thing about it is it doesn't melt in the sun. So you can give a ton of UV and she still holds. It might oxidize underneath the ceramic, but then you can buff it right off and reapply it, within a year or 2. So you can get, it depends how the boat is used. All these factors of how long this lasts has a lot to do with the condition of the paint, how old the paint is, where the paint goes, how the paint is cleaned, what kind of chemicals is used. I mean, even though this is a lot chemical resistant, you might be in the tropics or you might be up in Alaska. It's a whole different ball game when it comes to weather. So it's important to take those in considerations. But there is possible that when you do this process and you prep it right, put both coatings, and then you reapply the crew from time to time, you can get easy 2 years before you have to strip it out and put it on again, and potentially even more. Some boats are undercover. That could go for years before you need to reapply it. All right, so that's it for the application. We're going to use our paint prep. So we have a prep spray that is solvent-based, and it's going to remove all the little traces of polish and oils and thins. And it's important to start with a clean microfiber. Let me grab this spray right into, this has already been prepped from our gallon. Spray the microfiber and just spray it right into the surface and clean it all up. That is super clean, nice and shiny, very even. The applicators we use, we have these little blocks. It comes in packs of 4 and a pack of 6. So we have a bigger block. You can use our halls or different bigger areas. We use these bigger blocks. And then we have the pack of 6 of the smaller areas. So for this sample, it's actually perfect size. And we'll go ahead and apply it that way. Go ahead, open it up. See all the crystals and things. And you just put a bunch of drops. Careful not to splatter the ceramic, because they'll dry hard and any surface it touches, so just make sure you wipe it off if you get anywhere. We do recommend to use rubber gloves and respirator. So I'm actually going to go ahead and carefully apply it without, but just so you know. Basically cover the surface, just a little bit covers a lot, so it's very concentrated. With the ceramic, temperature is important. Our ceramic actually likes the heat, which is fine, but don't want to apply the ceramic in a very cold environment. It's very difficult to wipe off, and we don't believe it works well. So you want to have above 50 degrees, 55, 60 above is probably ideal, to apply. Once you put it on, you give it a few seconds, and then you just start wiping it in sections. You'll feel it. Is the professional is very tacky, but it removes very, very even. So just don't get carried on doing too big of sections where you can't wipe it off. And if it dries on you, it's not a big deal. Just use the rupus right on top, remove it, especially when it's fresh. It's not very hard. You know, once it's completely cured, you can buff it out and reapply. Basically, invisible, clear, almost imitating what new oil grip does. You know, having a polyester on the top. Of course, it's not new. You know, it doesn't replace a new paint job, but the difference in price is huge. So, doing this will stretch another year, and you can just keep it one more year, until you decide that you want to make the commitment and then repaint the boat. And then once you repaint it, you know, it's very important to put a protection on that new paint so it doesn't prematurely oxidize and so on. So we did the professional version. We're going to go ahead and apply the crew version. Perfect whirl, we leave that set for about 30 minutes. We're right here in this video, so we're going to go ahead and apply it just for the purpose of education. Very even. Once you have it there, you let it set for a few seconds. Depends on the heat. You know, it will tend to dry quicker when it's really hot. When it's really cold, it dries very quick. So between 60 and 85, 90, it's very easy to remove. So not much effort. You just wipe it clean, level the paint. It has our professional version as a base, and by itself the professional protects phenomenal. We just double coat it for bulletproof result. So that is that's with our ceramic coating. All the micro pores have been sealed with the coating and the glass coating in it. So this thing will hold, you know, the salt, the strong UV, and beats water like crazy. It's super hydrophobic, so you can rinse and there'll be very little water to wipe off afterwards, or even, and especially if you use very clean water, if you use DI water or reverse osmosis water or even water maker water, you don't have to dry anything. You just let it air dry. It's very easy to maintain. So we'll go ahead and pull the tape so you can see the difference. This is how bad this is. It's super scratch, oxidized, water spots, 10 years worth of UV hit in it. So the full surface, this is dead paint. And over here, we were able to get a new layer and restore that old grip paint, brought back the shine, and put a ceramic coating. So we're imitating that invisible clear coat that is resistant to the elements and chemicals and abrasion and so on. So this is a good alternative to a paint job. So let's call it a second option to a paint job. So we're going to go ahead and explain to you how we're going to promote the ceramics. They're going to come in special kits, and we'll be showing you how to buy it in the next video.